All right, it is 5 o'clock. We will go ahead and begin this meeting of the Kokomo City Board of Zoning Appeals. I would invite you to first, if you have a cell phone, make sure that's on silent. And then I invite you to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item on the agenda this evening is the approval of the minutes from the Tuesday, August 2nd meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, our first case to be heard this evening is case P17-V-22.
Yes, petition of Charles Frailer requesting a variance of one structure to section 6.10 and a variance to section 6.9E, accessory structure placement. This is in an R1 zone. This is at 3014 Westmore Drive.
Do I have a motion on this case?
I move that we approve case number P17-V-22 and adopt the findings of the petitioner as those of the board and make those findings part of the record.
Second.
Have any board members had any ex parte communication regarding this
No,
case?
sir.
Okay, thank you. Would the petitioner please come to the microphone if you'll state your name and your address for the record and kind of tell us what it is you're wanting to do, what brings you here tonight?
My name's Charles Frailer, and my address is 3014 Westmore Drive in Terrace Gardens subdivision. Wanting to get approval to build a 21 by 21 foot carport in front of the house over the existing asphalt driveway, and it'll be about 7 feet from the house, away from the house. So it's not attached, and it's an additional structure to my 2-structure limit.
Okay. And that's the only construction you have going, would be the carport?
I have a shed under construction now, but I already have the permits for that.
Okay. And then I see on the graphic, or on the drawing here, the shed that's next to the one that's being built will be
Removed.
Okay. Okay, any questions from the board at this point? Okay, would you mind reading your findings of fact for the
Yes.
record, please?
The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Building this carport in front of my house should not cause harm to the community. 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Building this carport in front of my house should not affect negatively on the property value. In my neighborhood, I have a neighbor next door with a detached carport and a neighbor across the street that has a detached carport. The strict application of the terms of this zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulty. The situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on perceived reduction or restriction of economic gain. By modifying my project to move it to the side of my house will cause the structure to further encroach on a controlled drain that I've already received approval from the Drainage Board and received 45 feet of relief from that. If I moved it to the side, I would encroach upon that 45-foot relief. By requiring it to be attached to the house would increase the project from $3,500 to $15,000 by tying in the roof. And
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions from the board at this point? Mr. Sheeline, you want to read the staff findings?
Yes, staff findings for case P17V22. The approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The requested variances will be set back far enough from the street that the carport will not cause a vision clearance problem. The carport will not encroach on any recorded easements or property lines. However, the petitioner did receive permission from the Drainage Board in order to encroach on a drain. As this permission was granted, the addition of the carport will not be injurious to the community. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. There are several other comparable carports in the surrounding neighborhood, and this carport would not stand out. The petitioner wishes to line up the carport on his existing driveway, which is a normal placement for such a structure. The strict application of the terms of this zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty. This situation shall not be self-imposed, nor be based on a perceived reduction of or restriction of economic gain. If the variances are not granted, the petitioner will be unable to place the carport in the most convenient location on his driveway. The petitioner may also be unable to utilize this property as he desires if the variances are not granted.
All right, thank you. Is the carport, are there any sides on it, or is the whole?
It's totally open. It's a 6-post kit that I'm going to get from Menards.
Okay,
So post and frame,
all right.
So it just has a top?
metal roof.
Okay.
It's a
Okay,
412 pitch metal roof.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions from the board for the petitioner? Are there any audience members who would like to be heard regarding this case? All right, anything you'd like to add?
Nope.
Okay, so we have heard the details on case P 17-V-22. We do have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is case P 18-V-22.
Yes, petition of Fortune Companies, Inc., requesting a variance of 3.62% to section 4.17.2, maximum lot coverage. This is in the C2 zone. This is 714 South Reed Road.
I have a motion on this case.
I move that we approve case number P18-V-22 and adopt the findings of the petitioner as those of the board and make those findings part of the record.
Second?
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Have any board members had any ex parte communication on this case?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, if you state your name and address for the record and. tell
Scott
us-
Pitcher, 202 Sandy Court, Kokomo, Indiana. This is really a minor thing. If you'll turn to page 2 of the flyer, we have, instead of 75% coverage, 78.62%. That's predominantly because of the drive-through lanes. When we add those, it leaves us 3.62% short, so it's a very minimal request that we have. And so if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
What's the seating capacity gonna be? Is this gonna be one restaurant or?
This is a spec building, so it's being built spec. That lot has been empty for over 30 years, I believe. And so Frank Swiss from Indianapolis, a friend of mine, he wants to build a spec building there and attract business. So
Will there be more than one occupant in there or just one occupant?
could be up to 3. Sorry, go ahead. 2. Go ahead, Frank.
Now, if you'd state your name and address.
Sure. My name is Frank Swiss, Zionsville, Indiana. It most likely will be 2 restaurants, probably a quick-serve restaurant on the north end and probably a non-restaurant use on the south end. So it's just going to be 2 tenants.
Thank you.
I might mention that the activity that's being created here, a lot of it's due to Championship Park. So you're seeing Wendy's build out there and those type of things. So, I mean, that's part of it, just trying to meet those demands.
My main question was the seating, the parking is based on that, and it's gotta be 1/3 of what's in there, you need a variance for parking, that's why.
Yeah.
Well, didn't know if you knew where that was at.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
So really, our only request, right, is the lot coverage?
There's a lot coverage at this point in time, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions at this point? Okay, Mr. Pitcher, if you want to go ahead and read your findings of fact.
Petitioner's findings of fact, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. This would be an improvement to the existing property and bring positive investment to the community. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The plan for the development site will comply with all existing zoning ordinance standards. The strict application of the terms of this zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty. The situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on a perceived reduction or a restriction of economic gain. No aspect of this development will subvert the ordinance or be injurious to the other properties. By seeking this variance, we are attempting to be in full compliance with current zoning ordinance requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Sheehan?
Now, staff findings for case P18V22, approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The requested variance for maximum lot coverage for a drive-through restaurant will not create any safety hazards. The variance will not allow the petitioner to impede on any property lines or recorded easements. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Granting this relatively small variance for lot coverage will allow the petitioner to infill a currently vacant lot with a new and useful drive-through restaurant with a similar aesthetic to surrounding properties. A strict application of the terms of this zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty. This situation should not be self-imposed, nor be based on a perceived reduction of or restriction of economic gain. If the variance is not granted, the petitioner will be unable to use their created plans for the site and will have to make new plans for the site.
Okay, thank you. Having heard the petitioner finding and staff findings, any board members have any questions at this point? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to be heard regarding this case? Okay, anything to add? Anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you.
Before we vote? Okay. We do have a motion and a second for approval of case P18-V-22. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I like mine medium rare. He didn't even catch it, never mind.
Our next case is case P04-SE-22.
Yes, the petition of Gavin Cox, DBA Loctite Storage LLC, requesting a special exception for section 3.31 for a storage facility in a C2 zone. This is at 2718 West Bartman Road.
Have a motion on this case.
What road did you say, Zartman? Westmore?
Wes Zartman?
Zartman.
Zartman.
I'll make a motion, we approve case number P-04-SE-22 and adopt the findings of the petitioner as those of the board and make those findings part of the record.
Second.
Thank you both. All right, any ex parte communication on this one?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, with our petitioner, if you'll step to the microphone, give us your name and address for the record and fill us in.
Brett Walker, 3505 Tally Ho Drive, Kokomo, Indiana.
All right, and, just kind of briefly tell us what it is you're wanting to do.
I represent as an agent, I'm a realtor with the Wyman Group, and I represent as an agent the Coxes. They are wanting to build storage units on this facility, or this property.
Okay. All righty. You want to go ahead, we'll go ahead and have you read do you have a copy of the petitioner's findings?
Yes, I do. Petitioner's findings of fact. The proposal will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Buildings will be constructed by a contractor experienced in storage unit construction. Grounds will be secured by fencing to ensure people cannot easily access the property. Property will be routinely maintained to a high standard. The requirements and development standards for the requested use as prescribed by the zoning ordinance will be met. The buildings meet the minimum requirements for front and side setback requirements on the zoning district. Development standards will be met. The project will be developed in phases by a contractor with previous experience developing similar properties and structures. Owner will adhere to any and all standards set forth in the zoning ordinance. The granting of the exception will not subvert the general purposes served by this zoning ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. The property will be well maintained and managed efficiently. Due to the nature of the business, surrounding property owners will not be bothered with excessive noise, odors, environmental hazards, etc. The proposed use will be consistent with the character of the district therein, the spirit and intent of this zoning ordinance, and the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. The owner will work with the city and plan commission to be a good neighbor to adjacent properties and businesses. The facility will be an attractive addition to the area. The owner wants to build a good relationship with the neighbors in the city because of the intention is to develop other sites for similar business and other business opportunities in the future.
All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and have Mr. Sheehan read your staff findings, and then
Yes.
we've got them both at once.
Staff findings for case PO4 SE 22. Proposal will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. There should be no safety hazards associated with the proposed use as a storage facility. A facility of 411 units will be built from the ground up and will be required to go through development plan approval. The requirements and development standards for the requested use as prescribed by this zoning ordinance will be met. The buildings meet the minimum requirements for front and side setback requirements in the zoning district. The petitioners have promised to meet all development standards. This will be confirmed during the development plan approval process when the petitioner provides more detailed plans for the site. The granting of the exception will not subvert the general purposes served by this zoning ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. The addition of this storage facility will infill a current vacant lot and an unused lot. The development of the property will raise its value and have a positive impact on the area. The proposed use will be consistent with the character of the district therein, the spirit and intent of this zoning ordinance, and the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. The facility will be open to its customers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but most of the adjoining properties are not residential and should not be affected. This area was earmarked for general commercial purposes in the City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. As such, a commercial storage facility is an appropriate use for the property.
Yeah, thank you. All right, any questions from the board?
Yeah, in paragraph B, we talk about front setbacks and side setbacks, but we didn't say anything about rear. Is there a reason rear's not included in that statement?
No, probably should have been, but it would be, again, it'll be looked at during,
Clarification,
yeah.
all I wanna know.
It'll be looked at during development plan approval, as you well know. Yep,
If I may say something else, we are employing Trip Engineering to do the
Okay.
survey and site development plan.
Thank you.
There's not gonna be an on-office site for this, or?
No. There will be I call them widgets, the things you scan to pay your bill, you scan to get a unit, and there'll be a phone number underneath and an email address underneath that if they need something beyond that, they can get a hold of the owner.
In this drawing here, what's these side spaces for? What's this area? Right here. Why do we have this here? I can't, whatever this. So
These are units.
these are units here too?
Yeah, so what we were doing is instead of using so much fence, we were gonna build units.
Units on the
outside.
backside. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is a unit, okay.
Yeah, and I would like to correct, instead, it's not a 411, it's gonna be 477. I think that just by reading my
Oh,
pencil
okay.
works. Yeah.
When do we address impervious area, since they've got, I mean, there's.
we will, during site plan approval, we would have, and, because we don't know exactly what that's going to be yet, so there may be a need for a variance for that at some point in time once we see the actual site plan.
We're just
It's
looking
gonna
at-
go back.
The actual number could change as units if there's a problem with that, so we're not voting for
The number of
the number of units.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. All
If
we're
there's no-
voting for tonight is
I-
to give them the special exception to build the units. Yes, you're correct.
Thank you.
Absolutely correct.
In addition, folks, I'm told that the place where you will pay your bill, the place where you will rent a unit will be with kiosks. They'll be able to walk up, it'll be underneath a little roof.
You guys have a copy, I think everyone should have a copy of the business plan as well in your packet. Have a chance to glance through that.
Was all the units gonna be 10 by 20s?
We'll have 4 different sizes.
Will you step to the microphone and go ahead and give your name and address, and then
My name's Gavin Cox, 10706 West 100 South, Rushville. I believe that's a black and white page. Do you have?
That's okay, good. What I do is look at the square footage.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
When you break it down, but when I break, when
Okay.
I do the.
No, there's
formula, it's-
four
it's
different
10
sizes.
and then you-
4 different sizes. We got 10 by 10, 10 by 15, 10 by 20, and 5 by 10.
It's pretty large acreage here, so.
Yeah. It's 4.07 acres.
Any questions, Mike? Any other board members have any questions? Mr. Besser, you good?
I'm good.
All right. Anyone in the audience wishing to be heard regarding this case? Okay, anything either of you'd like to add? Okay. We do have a motion and a second for the approval of case P04-SE-22. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
All righty. Is there any other business to be brought before the BZA this evening?
I have no other business, Mr. President.
Council? Nope. Anything else?
Move to adjourn, please.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's a night. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here.